Are you looking for a life of freedom and flexibility? Do you want to have as much success with your family as you do in business? Here in the Entrepreneurial Family Man podcast, we break down the barriers and bust the myths that are keeping you from living your best life at home and at work. You deserve a thriving family, rich faith, and business success. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Family Man podcast.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Family Man podcast. Hey, we are here with you, episode 1. And we just want to kind of pull back the curtain on why we're here. Who are we? Where are we going? What is this podcast going to all be about? Who are these guys, these voices behind here? And why are we even maybe remotely qualified to talk about some of this stuff? We want this show today to be about our purpose and how we're going to help you. So what can we walk away with? What are some resources we get to share along the way? And we want to take you back to, it was almost a year ago in San Diego and how it all began. So Michael, can you shed some light on that story for us, please?
I remember it like it was yesterday. We were all sitting around in between sessions at Social Media Marketing World Conference 2017. And we were sitting in this beautiful hotel lobby, just sitting around, relaxing, having amazing conversations. And something occurred to us. We all looked at each other. It almost felt like one of those moments that you have, right? Where we're all kind of on the same page. We all connected at the same moment. I think we all realized the fact that we were there with the blessing of our wives, enjoying our friendship, and also learning and growing. It was pretty remarkable. And so we started a discussion around that, right? Like, how is it that we all ended up here and there isn't a lot of stress around this trip? We were enjoying ourselves. We had the blessing of our wives. Our kids were taken care of. And man, it was just special. How did we accomplish that? And so I think that sparked this whole idea of, man, I bet a lot of other guys want to talk about this. I bet a lot of other guys are striving to get to this place. Not that we've arrived, but we definitely had stumbled upon something just because we were there.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things we realized too is because we are in this entrepreneurial space, right? We go to these types of conferences, we talk to these people, and a lot of friends even that kind of struggle a little bit sometimes with the home life and balancing it all. And then, then we also kind of realize in that discussion, we've got these people in this space that, some people look up to, and they're on our Facebook feed of 10x your business and, work 90 hours a week for yourself instead of 40 for the other guy. Mm-hmm. And it's that doesn't really resonate with us, and I think there's so many people that they want to figure out that happy medium, not necessarily balance, but what could that look like from integrating, right?
Yeah, it's the home and work-life balance that we just don't have the hours in a week to maximize our business and take it to the level that we would if we didn't have a wife and children.
Well, what I love about all of us too is that we're guys that sure, we want to succeed and do well in business. I mean, that's something that God's gifted us with, but even more so, we want our wives, we want our kids to succeed, and we want our home life to be just as significant as leveraging our businesses up or whatever the impact we're having. If we're not taking care of the home life and the home front, it doesn't matter what you're going to do in business. And so we just started talking about that and having that discussion there in San Diego and, walking on the beach together after a little polar bear swim in Coronado Beach. It was some dreams started happening, some magic started happening.
Yeah,
so
that's when we actually said, we got to do a podcast on this. There's got to be other people that would want to be in the conversation that we're having with just the same hierarchy of values, where family and marriage is the same significant as business success.
Well, here's the crazy thing is there's this misconception out there, right? That you either go big with your career at the cost of your family, or you sacrifice your career and you spend more time with your family. And we are here to just blow that whole thing out of the water, right? Because we have pretty big goals. Even with what we're doing here, the Entrepreneurial Family Man podcast, we have big goals. We want to make a huge impact with what we do. But we not only want to spend the same amount of time with our family relationships, we want to spend more time with our wives and kids. We want to bring them into what we're doing and share experiences with them. And we believe that we can do both of those things in tandem.
You are speaking my language, McGreevy.
Well, that's why you're here,
Love
right?
Love it. And that's the thing, right? It's not an either or, guys. It's a yes and. It's both. And I think, that kind of just brings us to, like, let's have a just discussion here about each other. Like, Jamie, who are you? What do you do? Tell us just a little bit about yourself.
I am an entrepreneur. I have multiple businesses. I work from home. We have 4 children, and we also homeschool. So it sounds like we're a bunch of crazy people because we have so many balls going up in the air at the same time. It's a balancing act. It's a juggling act, right?
But dude, if I could just jump in there, like, you guys live such an extraordinary life together because you've been intentional about doing this life where you've got freedom and flexibility and margin to, hey, let's pick up and go to Mexico for a month. Let's do this. Let's do that. Because you've set these things in place to manage your business because you want to be intentional about your family. I love that about you.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it. And I could switch over and talk about you. It's like you travel all the time with your kids and you never skip a beat. You're working, you got your laptop, you got your shades out and your shorts on the veranda, and you're booking cruises and working with your people. And you guys started homeschooling just a little bit ago too. So
yeah, so
gives you the freedom to go where you want and do what you want to do, right?
Right. We've also got 4 kids, young kids. My wife is biggest blessing in our household. She homeschools 2 of them. We got 2 that are not in school yet. And I've got a couple travel businesses that we've grown over the past few years. And it affords us the opportunity to go and explore the world. And we take the kids with us because we want to be intentional about using the world as a classroom.
Yes.
And they grow so much from those experiences. And, it's funny because you meet friends and people along the way and they go, gosh, how do you guys do all that? Like, they would look at our lifestyle and be like, it's so cool, right? You get to, like, go and explore and you're still kind of figuring out how to work and monetize that. And that's kind of what sparked some of this conversation was like, there's guys that want to be doing this, but they feel like they've got to sacrifice one for the other.
Yeah. And it's hard. So how could we do it well instead of just being stressed out by doing all these things that seem extraordinary because we're going to all these places, but we're really just burning the candle at both ends? We are determined to make this out-of-the-box lifestyle work where we can teach our kids these just business lessons because they're around us when we're growing our business. And they grow up differently than they would if we were just kind of living inside the lines, if you will.
And talk about a guy not living outside the lines. So, Michael, when I heard you say a time ago that, I work every other week or something to that degree, right? I was like, what? This guy works every other week and he's still killing it? How does he do this? And it was like, because you wanted to be so present and engaged with your family. So, dude, tell us about that. Like, what are you doing? How are you doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my wife's family is from Texas and I'm from up in Buffalo. Actually, I think it's pretty cool that, Chris, you're from Oregon. Jamie lives down in Nashville, Tennessee. I love this conversation just coming from all those different places. But from the start, I needed to build a life that allowed us to spend time with Lydia's family. And so I built a coaching business where I focused my sessions in on very concentrated amounts of time, and which allowed me to have a very free schedule when I wasn't coaching. So if I want to shoot over to Texas and take my kids with me and enjoy some time with my wife's family, we can do that. We have a lot of friends all over the world that we love to visit. So I'm just one of those guys that I do not want to be pinned down, and I want that freedom and that flexibility to just soak in everything life has to offer. And so I've set my business up very intentionally that way.
Yeah. I happen to know you for a long time, Mike. We've been lifelong friends. I happen to know that you don't have a middle name. So I think we should throw in Adventurer in there. Michael Adventurer, Wildman or something. Because like, you really just have a drive to just always be going someplace new and something always on the horizon.
Right. Honestly, I just didn't have a vision for settling into a job that I had to be at a certain location every week and every day. Like I just couldn't see being myself in that environment. So I needed to build that business that would allow me to be who I am. And I know you guys both have done that same thing. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be leaning on you guys quite a bit about the homeschooling thing and how you're helping grow your kids through what you're doing, because mine are just little right now, just 1 and 3 years old. So
one on the way.
Teach me, oh wise ones.
Well, and that's part of the thing of like why, so you know who we are now a little bit, right? And we'll learn more along the way. But, the whole why we're here is part of that discussion of just like, we want to help each other. And if there's some people that want to listen in on our process, hey, great. That's kind of why we're here is talking about investing in both the home and the business. It's not one or the other. You don't have to have that mentality of grind at the expense of the people you love. And, when we talk about like, where are we going, right? This is episode 1, and we've got so many more planned and just a lot of stuff on the horizon. But, where are we going? We want to have these discussions to sharpen each other and sharpen those listening, but just continual questions from other people in our mastermind, in the groups that we're in, the friendships that we're in. A lot of questions keep recurring that we're like, you know what? Why don't we just start talking about that? Because we've had that question, we've overcome it or answered it, and we're moving on, right? So, what?
Yeah, I'm excited. Like we have some mentors lined up to come on the show that are further down the road than we are. Like we have just a passion to really help guys younger than us that maybe want to do what we want to do. But we are looking at these entrepreneurs that we look up to that maybe have kids already out of the nest. And we're like, man, if we could build the life that they have and have a relationship with their family like they have built, it's like that would really be success to do what they've done. So I'm excited about learning from them and sharing their tips and tools with our audience as well. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And the world is changing. The working world is changing. And I feel like this conversation is an important one right now because more and more people are going to be working from their homes, working remotely, and they're going to have to figure this thing out, especially if you have a family. And I think we've been fortunate to walk through some of those struggles and challenges and figure some of this stuff out. So we are just happy to continue having that conversation and helping more and more guys figure it out.
Yeah, that's so true. Looking forward like that and looking forward, knowing that we've all experienced some of those pitfalls, maybe some speed bumps along the way, but we've managed to talk about that and how we overcame them. And we'll just share more about some of those and pull back the curtain even further. But just, how to avoid and giving one thing we've talked about in each episode is giving actionable resources and tips that someone can walk away with every time they listen, just to grow the margin in your life, whether it's the relationships or your business. So we want it to be an actionable podcast that we're really delivering that value to the listener.
Yeah. So just a few things that we're going to talk about. We're really excited about. I would say, first of all, that you just can't go on this journey alone. There is power in just being real with some people that know your story, have similar experiences. And you can just be honest that sometimes it's really tough. So that's one of the reoccurring themes is how do you walk this out in community? If you're not in community, how do you find the others?
Yeah, I'm also excited about just what does it look like to be married and to walk through this journey too? Like there's a lot of things that come up when you're working from home, right? Like your schedule, what does that look like? What kind of boundaries that you have to put in place? How do you continue to nurture your relationship when you're around your significant other all the time or more time than usual? We're going to talk about things like how do you get yourself out there as an entrepreneur? How do you connect with high-level people who can push you and help and expand your mind and help you grow into greater ways and greater things? So, there are a lot of cool topics we're going to cover here. Maybe you are launching your business right now. Maybe you already have a business and you're struggling to figure out how to make it work at home. Or maybe you're just thinking about launching a business, but you're worried about what that means with family. Hey, we're going to hit all those things and we're going to open this thing wide and just know that we are on a journey as well. We are figuring this out as we go. We figured a lot of things out that we want to share with you, but you're going to see us walk through this stuff as we go forward and learn from our mistakes too.
Absolutely. And there's so much wisdom in that. I mean, what's the proverb? Walk with the wise and be wise, right? And
Proverbs 13:20.
there you go.
I have it on the wall, so I'm cheating. I'm not,
Cheater.
I'm not a Bible dictionary.
Sunday school star.
Hit a rose on your nose. So we have some awesome examples, though, of just some good topics that we're going to share. And we did want to share. I mean, this is definitely an ongoing journey of ours, right? I mean, we have not arrived, right? But we are learning a lot from our mentors, from the people that we're doing life with. And we just feel compelled. We feel passionate about sharing that with others to really understand what it's like to live life on your terms and design that life. Be intentional. Maybe, like Michael just talked about, maybe you're still in a job, but you've got these entrepreneurial dreams and pulls, and you're making that pivot, or you're in the transition of that pivot. And
maybe you think, I don't believe these guys. They, got lucky or had some stroke of good fortune with having money growing up. That's not true. We want to just blow that myth out of the water, like Michael said earlier. Is this possible? And I think we would all agree. What's the answer?
yes.
Heck yeah.
It is. It's possible. It's not always easy, but we are committed to doing it ourselves and bringing you guys along on the journey.
And that's what we want to just wrap up with is, guys, this is not only is it possible, it's worth fighting for. It's worth the struggle. To have the best of both worlds, the best of all, of a fulfilled life and career, but a very significant relationship with your spouse, with your kids, because that's the legacy you're living. I mean, that's part of what we're talking about here is living in significance, but living truly for your legacy.
And just to disbound this myth of either or thinking, it's like, do you really have to choose whether you have success in your family and marriage or you are a successful entrepreneur? And the answer is yes to both of those.
Absolutely right. So guys, any last words as we wrap up and get to share more in coming episodes?
I just want to say that if you're listening right now and this is resonating with you, come with us. We are a couple regular guys with big goals, and we love our families, and we'd love to continue this conversation. So reach out to us, connect with us. We're not some ghost out on the radio. We're real guys doing this thing, and it would be encouraging to hear about your stories and hear about what you're facing along the way. So join us on this journey, fellas.
Thank you for listening to the Entrepreneurial Family Man podcast. For show notes, resources, and to connect with us, visit www.entrepreneurialfamilyman.com.